You complete. Quiet sleep. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move to roll call. If you could just please state present after your name. Wow, we're doing this efficiently. Kristen? Here. Present. Will? Present. Leslie? Present. Yeah. Present. Present. Okay. Moving on to public and welcome. Yep. The Bank School Board of Directors welcomes the public to our December regular business meeting. The board appreciates your participation in the education of our students and welcomes you your continued engagement. And with that, we can move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. And move on to 1.6, Bank High School leadership. Everybody? All right. And that's all. Perfect.
For those of you who don't remember and or don't know me, this was the 2022-23 class president or ASB president, excuse me. As usual, I'm going to start with sports, then going to past events, and then upcoming events. With sports, we recently had a wrestling tournament, 2 days in Tillamook, if I'm not mistaken. While there, Tegan Henderson took second, Maddie Russell took first, and Braylee Davis took fourth. And on the boys' side, Owen Turner took fifth, Devon Green took first, and Michelle Muck took first as well. For basketball, they're currently 2-1 in league and 13th out of 44 in OSA rankings. The girls are currently 4-0 and 5th out of 45 in their rankings. And robotics is maintaining their first place per usual. For past events, we recently had a blood drive December 1st, all day in the wrestling building. 34 pints roughly were donated. I was one of them. I think it's the last one actually. It went really well. Didn't have anyone pass out like I did last year or any super big mishaps. It was put on by Ashley Shibby, the ASB vice president, and she did a good job with it. We recently also just finished a clothing drive of a class competition where people will bring in clothes for the winter for that were going to be donated to BB's house in Forest Road. We didn't get an exact count on the amount of clothes, but freshmen won it by a landslide. And then for upcoming events, we have winter break, of course, starting after school this Friday. I think everyone's a little excited for that. And also we have winter formal coming up. It's going to be on January 21st from 7 to 10 p.m. And it's going to be in a little farther away this year. It's going to be in Tigard at the Sean Gardner Dancing. And the theme is masquerade, and I'm pretty excited for it. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, move on to recognition.
Yeah, so recognition tonight, we have Ms. Evans from our music program. Just before you jump in, I just want to say to the public, thank you so much for coming in. COVID took a little bit of a hit to our program, and it was just great to see our kids back engaging in the music program, in the stands at football games, playing the national anthem by guitar at one of the games. You know, y'all are awesome. You sound great. And I just appreciate what all the students are doing, and Ms. Evans, I appreciate what you're bringing to the program. So I'd like to say a few words and then let it hear the product.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the high school bands. We'll just be performing one of our pieces from our winter concert. That's coming up this Thursday at 6 o'clock in the high school gym, and we'd love to see you there. So this is Ascension. It's a fanfare for band by James Swearingen.
Thank you all very much. You did a great job. We really appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
for coming.
Thank you. Great way to start the meeting. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and move on to audience. Comment?
None submitted tonight, in person or electronic.
Move on. Yep. Okay, presentation can report, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Frame. Thanks everyone for being here tonight. As I try to drive our electronic board and get my report going. I'm just gonna pull it up, so if you're following the meeting now, you should see it. But also just wanted to update you on a few key things, exciting things that are going on. The Bank School District has partnered with a design studio to kind of revamp our website with a focus on both the sort of the visual aesthetics of it as well as kind of user and usability of it. That site is scheduled to go live this Thursday on December 15th. A little bit of a caveat to that, some of the pages will still link to content on our old site. There's literally thousands of pages on our old site, and to get all of them to where they were all updated, it would have been a years-long project. So we did feel it was necessary to, kind of accelerate this a little bit. So our main pages all go live on the 15th. We think it'll increase usability. We'll continue to kind of make sure all of the pages become on that kind of new one, if you will. Just a little bit of a shout out there to not only our tech team for helping do all the behind the scenes transition to this, but also our students and our tech classes are really helping not only with the vision of what the website should look like, but also maintaining and creating new content. So thankful to the teachers, the students, and all the staff of that. As the board knows, y'all participated in some focus groups for the strategic plan. We were actually able to reach out to almost 100 individuals in our community, almost 15 different focus groups. And as we analyzed what their responses were, we've landed on 4 themes and a 5th sort of an umbrella or blanket theme. And those themes are simple at first, but you think of them as our students. A lot of conversation around our district team, and we're using that language instead of just saying staff, because there was certainly more of a community feel to our district. And so we think the word district team might capture a little better. Our community relations, our facilities, and then umbrella term of finance. So those are the themes that kind of came out of the focus groups. So what the next step is now, you'll see hitting the airwaves tomorrow a survey that's going out to all community members, publicized and far and wide. To just give us further information about what the community would like to see. And then in February, we'll spend a significant amount of time in our work session and doing our kind of final edits for that to launch that into the remainder of the year for our kind of short-term planning, and then launching us into summer for more than a long-term plan. Our facilities planning team has met once. Those of you on the team will get an email tomorrow, setting the date of our January meeting. Again, really trying to make sure we have our current context understood, meaning where are we at with finances, where are we at on our current building, I guess our building needs, and where are we at with past work that can contribute to this process. As we look towards moving forward, our really crucial next step is the application of what's called TAP grants. And what those grants will fund are state-approved facilities assessments and a state-approved long-range facilities plan. And we really do need those for two reasons. One, there's been great work that's been done here in various iterations of long-range facilities plans. Like I mentioned before, there's really not a plan right now that is moving forward in progress. So that'll help us define what exactly are our next steps. And then a little bit more pragmatically, in the event that the board chooses to go out for a capital bond, you have to have those state-approved plans to get matching funds from the state, which is referred to as Awesome Grant, OSDAN. So we need those anyway. Our current ones have expired or going to expire soon. So those will be kind of the immediate next step. We'll be having those while our team continues to provide them. Just a little bit about our meeting tonight. Mr. Burton's here. He's going to present us in a few minutes on kind of our key maintenance needs, where we're at with what's kind of currently going on and what is causing him to have all the joy in his days. Mr. Geddes has our student investment account annual report. It's just a required annual report that we present before on really what comes out of the corporate activity tax and the fund associated with that. And then we just have 4 action items for you. We have the BDDH and BDDH AR, that's the public comment stuff. We spent quite a bit of time in the work session talking about that. The board is asked by OSBA to submit a ballot for the election, and their elections are actually, I believe, this week. There are 2 positions open. Neither of those are contested. They're single candidate, if you will. So you're asked to essentially affirm those candidates. And there's also a resolution which would outlines OSBA's advocacy in the upcoming legislative session. And so if you choose to, you can present a motion to support those through the election. We'll get into this in a minute, but Benoni School District and Bank School District are looking at a cooperative agreement for our golf program. Benoni doesn't have the size and capacity to have a golf program. They have a couple of ladies that would like to participate on our ladies golf team. And essentially, in order for us to move forward, we need your approval. So we're here to ask for that. And then the last one is the city of Banks is requesting an easement to do some water pipe construction and maintenance. Again, the east end of our property. And so again, for us to move forward that we need your approval. So those are your 4 action items tonight. Since this is my last kind of ad-lib part of the meeting, I just want to thank all of you for your service, for your volunteerism. I want to thank all of our staff and students in here. I think this is just a wonderful community to be a part of. And as we go off into a little bit of a winter break here, and hopefully you'll take some time to relax, take some time to find some joy, and just know that you have my gratitude to go along with you. So thank you all for your time, and it's okay, we can turn it over to Mr. Burton for the maintenance report.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Well, good evening, board members. Thank you for having me here tonight. Like you said, my name is Dale Burden and I am the facilities manager. And I believe I'm gonna briefly talk quickly on some of the bullet points. I believe you have a copy in front of you of some of the maintenance priorities that I am dealing with right now. The first one being lead and radon testing. The hygienist and I just got done wrapping up with lead, taking water samples for the lead for all the buildings that are occupied by students. We got the results back. Elementary school, middle school were good. High school has about 7 hot spots. And that just means that we are going to take another sample and have it retested and then go from there. And so I'm working with the hygienist on that. The lead is we need to test every 6 years. So we're doing it this year and then we'll do it again in 2028. And then the radon testing, we just finished up as well. The samples got sent back and we are waiting for the results, and I am with the same hygienist doing that as well. And so second bullet point would be roof maintenance. I got with a company called Garland and asked them to assess our roofs, in particular the elementary school and middle school, kind of know where the high school sits right now. We're kind of patching that roof together as we get leaks and certain hot areas, but they put together a great report and they recommended some different actions as far as replacement or repairs. And I think I've shared that with Brian, and we can talk, hopefully we can talk about that at a later date, but some great information. They took some aerial shots of all the roofs because when you guys don't get up there and see what we're dealing with, but you know, you can actually see, you know, the aging and the bad areas. So more to come on that. Total, as you can see in your notes, total for full replacement on both those schools, $2 million. Third bullet point would be the high school boiler update. As of right now, the boiler is sitting actually in good shape. I've been working closely with 2 companies to kind of give it a once over. We had to repair the floor of the boiler that was kind of sagging, drooping, to get that, our permit, we needed to repair that. So that's been repaired. The boiler's in decent shape. It's old school steel, you know, thick, and it's holding up. What's hurting right now is the steam pipes that run underground. And that's what we dealt with just recently, where I had to shut down the heat for the high school gym and cafeteria and locker rooms, hallways and district building are ran off of the boiler. So we got that line. It was a condensate return line that was leaking underneath the high school gym floor, causing it to warp. So I had to shut that down quickly so it wouldn't cause any more damage. Called in the company, they cut that line out. As of now, we don't have heat to the locker rooms, but we do have heat to everywhere else in the building. So, but we are working with McDonald Miller, who is the boiler company, and we're gonna kind of take a look at what our options are for either replacement or repair. Yeah, so we don't have to keep on, maybe we can get ahead of these leaks or not having it. Let's see, middle school water leak. I was surprised with a water leak in the kitchen cafeteria area. It was a supply line from the dishwasher that was kind of high up in the wall. I think it had been leaking for quite some time, and it finally showed face on the floor. And I had to call in a remediation company and the hygienist to look at it, have them open it up and see what we were up against, and there were some concerns that we're dealing with right now. There was some mold, but the hygienist has looked it over. Actually, they cleaned up the mold that they saw. The hygienist came in and did some air samples, and we have it closed up right now because we haven't repaired it. But and he did some samples, and there's no spores in the air. We're sitting good. Right now, I'm going to work with these companies starting this Saturday to kind of finish cleaning up and then hopefully get new sheetrock on the wall. And that'll take place from the 19th to the 23rd. So that's what's happening at the middle school. Elementary parking lot. As you know, the parking lot is about 26 years old, and with the buses driving through, it's getting really beat up. There's lots of potholes, lots of webbing from the asphalt cracking. I did in 2019, I called up a paving company, had them come out and quote me for full replacement of that parking lot. And I believe it's in our notes right here. And it was substantial amount of money. They did suggest that, yeah, I think it's $86,000, and that was in 2019. They did suggest that you can do some phases of the parking lot, you know, if we can't afford the full replacement, but so that's the numbers I got. I also wanted them to tell me about the small parking lot, the overflow parking lot, sealing it. And what we don't have here is roughly $8,500 at that time to seal the parking lot. Last but not least is the elementary HVAC. With all the HVAC at the elementary school up on the roof is 26 years old. We haven't had a lot of failures, but we're starting to get more and more. The two large units that are up on the second story are probably in worse shape than everything else. And so McDonald Miller, which is our HVAC company, is going to, well, we met with them and they're going to help us with the RFP, and they are putting together some numbers right now, a quote of full replacement of all 6 units that are up there on the roof. So kind of waiting for those numbers to come back. So that is, I guess
Yeah, can I just add on to the HVAC one?
Yeah.
We'll be able to use some federal dollars and ESSER dollars to fund that. And the reason ESSER was the COVID relief money. And so what we just have to make sure is that as long as the HVAC meets what that is called ASHRAE, the engineering standards of air quality, then it would be a very appropriate use of COVID relief money on that. So it's a little bit of glad we have money, glad we earmarked it for this, because it'll help obviously add safety to the air, but also added benefit of adding comfort as well. So that's where that funding is coming from. I just wanted to, we don't need to find money for that. That's what I'm trying to say. It's already there.
How big are these? So you get some time to elementary school.
Oh, they're all different sizes. The two large ones on the second floor, they were looking at them being like a 40-ton.
240 tons?
So what they do is, each one controls the first and second floor of one wing. So, yeah, you got it, the east, let's see, the north wing and the south wing. And so, yeah, they do that. The third unit that's up there controls the office area where the secretaries and the principal and everything.
And what's wrong with them?
What's that?
What's failing?
We have several compressors that have failed. Was about a year ago, one failed, and they're really hard. So the name of the units are Aeon, and they're very hard to get parts for now. And it's just kind of customer service is really kind of touch and go. each compressor at that time was about almost $9,000. One failed, they came in and fixed it, they thought it was acid in the line, and then, that one failed. And in the meantime, another one failed.
Can you
so-
fix those, given that there are 22 units?
Say that again?
Those are R22 units, correct?
Yes.
So can you even fix them?
You can fix them, but they, are having a really hard time coming up with the compressors.
What about the R22? Is it legal?
As of right now, it still is. Yeah. As of now, what we do. In talking with McDonald Miller, and Brian and I met with them is, you know, they were. Kind of like, well, what's your plan? What would you like to see up there, like name brands or, you know, what kind of units? In talking with the technician that I've built a good relationship with, he said, don't go with any Aeons. Just because of that reason. There's Carrier is another name, that's probably at the top, either Carrier or I think they mentioned like York.
Honeywell?
Train, thank you, Will. Yeah, Train, so yeah, they kind of recommended that. I mentioned Carrier and they were happy to hear that. We have some up on the high school roof that have been doing great. You can get parts pretty quickly. They're local, you know, in the area. So, I told them when we met with them, I'm like, please quote us, you know, with that name brand and, you know, that's what they're working on. So, yeah, right now, we have heat in the elementary. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It just comes with really hot days. Anything that's kind of over 90 degrees, those units struggle because we're down 3 compressors.
So you say you can't get the compressors or they're hard to get?
They were very lucky to get these ones that they just replaced. So in hearing that, you know, we had to wait like, I think almost 2 months, Will, for those compressors, and their attitude at that time was, I don't know if we can get any more after this. So we're kind of sitting right now, we have air conditioning, but when it goes to different, I think they refer to it as phases, you know, 2 air compressors will kick on when it's a certain temperature, and then another 2 will kick on when it gets hotter. And those are what we're struggling is when it 90-degree days. So
the coils are still in decent shape.
yeah. Yeah, one of the units which has given us the most trouble, they kind of cut up the coil and they added some filters to try to, because they thought acid was in the line. And so they were kind of wanting to drain out and see if they can get rid of the acid. And then next thing you know that the next compressor failed. This was with Willamette HVAC at the time. And when that happened, I was kind of second guessing the company that I was with, you know, and at that time we made a switch to McDonald Miller, who was the tech that I have been working with for 3+ years now. And so he went to McDonald Miller and we switched to that company, and now that's who we're.
Yeah, they're a good, credible company.
They're very good, and the technician is, yeah, he's phenomenal. So,
The compressor will be a quarter of the price of the unit. If we can get it, would be nice.
yeah, it's just, I don't know if they can. And I mean, we'll talk about that. I think, well, I don't know if I've asked Devin or not, the technician, but I can ask him that and see. But, well, any more questions?
So the replacement of the elementary school parking lot for $87,000, is that, they're gonna dig it out, which is put in whole new surfaces, or is it just a resurface?
No, it said in their description that they were gonna go down 4 inches, removing all of it, and then, yeah. And it would be the full parking lot. That was not the small parking lot, that was just the main where the buses go. Right, the small one seems to be in decent shape as long as we can seal it and kind of, you know, take care of it, and it doesn't get very many cars. But I think what really is killing it is the buses.
Right.
And there's been lots of patchwork done you know, as you can see, there's still more potholes that need to be taken care of. But I think there was a cheaper price. They gave us two options. And it was kind of hit the bad areas, replacing that. I don't have that number in front of me, but. Yeah. Get that.
That place was shot 5 years ago.
Yeah, it really was. And I brought this up when I started with Jeff. And I just, every year I kind of brought it to his attention that it's just getting worse and worse. And you can fill in the potholes, you know, with bagged asphalt or, you know, kind of do minor repairs, but with the weight of the buses, it just chunks it out again.
So Dale, with this, the one that you're going to do, how long is that going to last with the buses going on? I mean, is it made for those big old buses?
Good question. Yeah, whether 4 inches is gonna hold up to it, you know, that's a great question that I can ask them. I don't know that answer. I kind of gave them the scenario. They knew what vehicles drove over the parking lot at that time when they gave me the quote. But yeah, we would definitely want to make sure.
Curious.
Yeah. You know, I don't, maybe there's something that they could do, but I would want to ask them for sure. Yeah, how many years can we get out of this with, you
That's
know,
right.
buses, because that's not gonna change, right, the buses, so, yeah.
Well, 26 isn't bad, we actually just saved some money along the way to do it, it's so bad.
True, and have it sealed, and, you know, I mean, if you cracks and you're not doing anything about it, then, you know, that weather, water's getting down in there, so.
Dale, I just thank you for presenting this, as we work on the facilities committee and understanding where the district is at. This is very helpful.
Yep. You're welcome, thank you very much. All right. Okay, thanks. Have a good evening.
I really appreciate all of all those.
Yeah.
Including those, you know, radon samples, you know, that's not taken in school day, that was after hours, but I just really appreciate all your extra time.
We do, Dale. You are appreciated.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, 5.1, approval for the. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
On to 5.2, routine, personal matters.
I think we can make an exception, typically consent agenda.
Oh, it's just all in once. Okay.
No, it's okay, we do have to, retirees, we put them on this. Is to be very transparent that they're retirees that are, they're retiring and separating from PERS, and they're gonna continue working at least at the end of the school year. So, good clarification.
All right. I'll do that. Okay, moving on to, discussion of the SIA report.
Forget it, you're up.
Good evening to the board, Superintendent Sika, and everyone here and virtually. I'm just here, happy to be here to present our annual student investment account, the student investment account annual report. This report, this is from last school year. So this was 21-22, the school year that ended in June. The report itself is available in your packet. It'll also be available at any time on the SIA section of our district website for anyone who'd like to examine that. The report highlights the activities, the successes, struggles, and barriers that we had in implementing our SIA plan in school year 21-22. I am not planning on reading the entire report here, but I wanted to give the board opportunity to ask questions if they had any. Before that, I wanted to give a couple of highlights from 21-22 in our SIA program. As part of our plan, we were able to, in the last, our plan started, is ongoing. But as part of that plan, we've been able to expand counseling services to the elementary and middle school. We've added, two additional instructional aides at the kindergarten level. Nearly $50,000 last year was invested in student technology devices such as Chromebooks. We've expanded art classes at Banks High School. And we were able to have an $85,000 ELA curriculum adoption for grade levels 6 through 12. As we're looking forward to, so for this school year we're currently in, we're operating under the same SIA plan. But for school year 23-24, we will have to submit an entirely new plan. And we're working toward that now. That will be finalized in the spring and we move into a new biennium at the state level. And at this time, we're having great success in kind of the assessment stage of the process. And analyzing that, conducting those assessments, and that's going to just provide critical information for us as we work to create the new SIA plan. So with that, are there any questions related to the 21-22 report? Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, move on to action items. And we have 3 action items. The first one is the policy BDDH and BADH. Do I have a motion?
Move that we adopt BDDH, BHHDAR with the minor adjustments that were made today during the work session. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's unanimous. Move on to approval of the OSBA elections. We have 2 candidates running for the OSBA.
If you look at the sit page on your situation page, I have it. If you're following my meeting, it actually gives you the different candidates' names and then the resolution is also given to them.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve Susan Greenberg for OSBA Director position number 15?
I move that the Banks School Board cast a vote for Susan Greenberg for the OSBA Board Director position for 15.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. And then we move on to the second individual. We have a motion for Corinne Wood for position 16.
Move that the Banks School District School Board cast a vote for Maureen Wolf for the OSBA Board of Directors position.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Okay, and then we do have a motion here. Let's see, do I have a motion on the OSBA legislative priorities?
I move that the Banks School Board cast a vote for yes for resolution number 1 to adopt the OSBA legislative priorities and principles as recommended by the legislative policy committee.
There's a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
So with those, Molly can officially cast your ballot through the OSBA portal and we'll do that.
Okay, we move on to our 7.3 cooperative agreement with Vernonia golf courses. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the cooperative between the Vernonia and Banks.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay, we got one more.
One more to go.
Bank School District easement. Do I have a motion?
Well, I'd like to, yeah.
Is there a motion for the Bank School District easement with the banks?
I make a motion to accept the easement with the city of Banks for the water lines that they want to put in.
Second, discussion?
Yeah, what limitations, will we be able to, we have to do anything, can we build on top of it?
You know what?
Problem.
Where exactly is this? Outside of the baseball field?
If you go to
It's only 16 feet wide, but we're looking for every foot we can get in that neighborhood.
I should say, my experience is that easements need to always be acceptable. I would think if it is, if there's improvements on it, then, there's the risk that those improvements could be lost. So if it's a field, a baseball field, then, less improvement.
So this is in the far, this is in the farthest northeast corner of our property. So we can play baseball top of it.
Because you just go and get to it. And
Yeah.
believe and Ron, you can, if we influence the board, there's always the option, if we need to bring in someone to answer questions more specifically.
No.
The best I can tell, this was currently outside of our baseball field.
Yeah.
There's that area between the railroad tracks and like where the fence is.
This is the, which, if we put something in that,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like that would be a physical structure.
But I know that golf was interested in putting up a putting / chipping green. I don't know if that's moved forward, but that obviously would, a good space, would there be any blockage of them doing that in the future? Or using that space for something related?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it is like temporary RVs and there's like then they would kind of come and do some work. But then forever, if they needed to do like maintenance or something to it, we would have to allow them that. So if you put a putting green on top of it, you would run the risk of, I guess, damage or.
Digging up the putting.
Sure. And that would be, we would be required to fix any damage that they did to it.
We could probably stipulate. This is permanent, once we give it up. we're done.
If we look at. Let me go back to the other, the one that's called file. The file is called bank easement BSC. Maybe give us a little bit more clarity to that. Maybe we'll remember a lot. So there's all these whereases, and that seems to just describe. It's our land, there's a need, to create this water line, right? But the temporary one, of course, the language isn't fairly easy to see. But 1A. Is to conduct surveys, excavations, larger excavations. But then if we go down to the permanent, this is where I think. What they can do is replace things, including a big water line. They have to give us 7 days. So they would pay us $1. And other good and sufficient consideration described herein, such as driveway alley improvements, its full compensation. So. It doesn't appear, unless you read it differently. It doesn't appear to me there's anything that would say they would have to return the land as it is, if they have to do something to it.
No, I mean, to my knowledge is that, like, if we build a building on top of it. And they had to get access to the easement, they check on the building and get access, they're not gonna be required to put the building back on.
I don't think that's true. Are you sure of that?
Well, that's just been my experience so far.
Well, if you look at this, there's no limitation on what we can do with the property after it's turned over. And, it doesn't require that we, I mean, I guess the word it turns on is what access consists of. Does that mean they have to have above, access from above for the full length of the pipeline? And what does access mean?
You know, I apologize, I probably should have brought in a presenter from this.
Yeah.
I should have brought someone.
Maybe-
If you want to put this to January,
I think that's
we can
fair.
bring in someone from, let me see what this place. I'm sorry, I don't have the name in front of me. I don't think it'd be from the city of Bay, it may be from the city of Northern Virginia, but, the other document has a name. Let's see if that is it.
You know, just given where we're at from a facility standpoint and looking to utilize every square inch of this. These parcels, and these everything.
It does say that this does not preclude our unlimited access. So it doesn't say construction per se, but it does say unlimited access, which I would think something would want to be specified.
I think that's important.
So I will, pose that question.
So let's table this, to January, and maybe move that to a presentation.
Someone should probably make a motion to put this on the next.
I make a motion to put the bank easements on the next agenda for January.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's move on to, board comments, Dan, you want to start us off?
Sure. I just, want to thank Trapper again for coming in, giving us, the layout of what's going on. It's always good to see that, and it was really nice to have the band here playing. That was really awesome, and I just want to say the play, I heard went off really well this weekend, so really happy with that. I'm glad to see that our facilities committee is meeting again, and after Dale's comments, I think, we really need to, look at some of this in due diligence. The high school flooring last year took a pounding, and we didn't have heat in that kind of whole side, east side of the building for about a month, and that's pretty much what happened again this year. So, students were, it was cold in there. We were in there for basketball, and it was, I would wear a sweatshirt and sweatpants and everything else and still be cold, so. It was basically the same temperature as it was outside, so I think we really need to kind of look at that. The floor is probably reparable at this point. There's some spots that are, really wavy, which should take a little bit to fix. And I also really want to thank Marjorie and Laura for presenting during the board work session. They presented really kind of how they're identifying social, emotional, and educational deficiencies, and really kind of how they're moving forward with that. And I think that was really wonderful. I think, COVID just kind of exacerbated some of the problems that we already had. And I think they're really stepping up and trying to do a good job to kind of grab that by the horns and get our kids, do right for our kids, which I think is really awesome. I'm looking forward to the kickoff of the Banks School District Equity Audit Advisory Committee this week. And I'm hoping we can get a good start with that committee and really to understanding the types and levels of inequity that we're seeing and figure out what the community advises us to do and what they deem as important issues that we need to tackle, just so we can, again, kind of help all our children and with their education, social, mental well-being. And personally, I'd like to thank Mr. Eggleston again and just put a plug in for the CPE program. Every year I give my lab a bunch of gifts, and he did some engraving for me again, and they look really awesome on some aluminum cups, and I'm really thankful for that. And I know, again, I put this plug out there before, but they're willing to work with anybody on their projects, and they really do a great job, and it really gets the kids involved and moving forward with that. So I'll just end with, I wish everyone a happy and enjoyable holidays with your families. Thank you. Leslie?
Wow, you are a spokesperson. You've covered about everything we wanted to talk about. So I am so thankful for Dale, and I have had the privilege of watching Dale grow up here in our school. And, to see, how well he does things and just is right on top of everything, and just, that's good. I do want to tell you, I went to our little community Christmas parade last night. Saw our kids, from elementary, junior high, and I think high school, dancing in the parade, and it was really good. It was good to see the community come together. And, I appreciate all of you coming to be here with us.
Thank you, Roger. Well,
I might be useful to give an update, as of the next facility committee meeting, I'll be bringing them all the materials that is on record with the past, architectural firm, plus, an analysis of, growth guidelines for the next 20-year period. The city's just completed an updated study on population, and I'll be comparing their numbers to mine and ensure that they align. And then I've gathered almost all the data. Kathy has said she might have a little bit more data in the meeting and getting less of that. So we should have the next meeting, everything that has ever happened that we have record of in hand. We should be able to have be able to define the outlook for a long range plan, as well as what the growth requirements during that period should be. So then we can start move that point reference and move on from there.
thank you.
Well, yes, I want, actually, what Dan said, we had wonderful presentations. Thank you to our band who's over here, but how amazing, really wonderful stuff. And I don't know who gave us these new little fancy. Thank you. Yeah, you guys are wonderful. I just wanted to kind of do my bit, I guess, to remind us of some really important things that have happened, and I wanted to invite us to take just a moment of silence to honor those who were lost in the Colorado Springs shooting just a few weeks ago. So I'm just going to do that for just a moment. Thank you all. And I just wanted to, acknowledge that there are those in our community that are struggling in our LGBTQ community here in Banks, and that is part of what happened in Colorado. And I think it's really important that we have this opportunity to learn more about these issues and to come to a better understanding about it and to be educated. So those that have brought these issues to our meetings, I think it's really important, and I thank them for bringing these issues so that we can learn as a community. And I think it's important to also think about and know from the research that suicide is the second highest rate of death among youth in our nation, and that our LGBTQ plus students and children have a 4 times higher rate of taking their own lives than their peers. So that's why I kind of bring these things up, because this has been a topic of conversation in our meetings for quite a while now. So I just wanted to bring that up and remind us all that our words have tremendous power, right? And that the words that are echoed in these walls have meaning in the lives of our children and in our community. And I know that right now there have been some harmful and hurtful things that have been said in these meetings. And I would just like to ask us to maybe think about the impact that we have as a group here and as a community and as a district. And maybe make a commitment to, as Dr. Clement talked about, walking in a spirit of nonviolence with our actions and particularly in our words. And a beautiful thing that Dr. King talks about when we walk the path of nonviolence is that the result of that is beloved community. And I think I would just like to pose to all of us what that might look like in Banks if we could create that spirit of beloved community amongst all of us. And I know Brian has been an incredible leader as we walk towards this brave experience. And I think that that might be a beautiful thing for us to consider in this policy. Thank you all. Happy holidays.
Thank you, board members, for all your comments. Wow. We have Brian, the steering committee, and the survey that went out, and where all the committee members could participate in that. And that helps us as we go forward. To the staff, I know this first of the year, it's welcome back, it's been more normal and they all deserve a great break as we come up on holiday break. And Brian, again, everything you're doing, thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn.